Hello, I'm Cedar Lewisohn, and I'm the creator of this, or co-creator of this exhibition called ORBITECTURE 2 at which is at the Focal Point Gallery in Southend. It's come from the Grundy Gallery in Blackpool, and I'm going to give you a little tour of it now. So if you want to walk over to this first piece in the show, which is by an artist called Gerd Earth. This is Gerd's work here. It's called Strike. And it's a very strong graphic piece, which I think is very, very potent and poignant for the current times we're living in, talking about issues around democracy and the economy and class and church and state and wealth and all these kinds of various issues in relation to those and the current economic. I was interested in trying to put music videos into the exhibition, kind of next to artworks, to talk about the relationship between music videos and pop music and electronic music and art, and how those two different genres function together. But the strange thing about the videos by Man Like Me, and also the next one here, Planning to Rock, is that those films are actually, or those bands, they have a big crossover between art and music. Really, they are partly made by artists. Actually, these bands, Man Like Me and Planet to Rock, are actually musical bands which have been instigated by artists. It's very an unrelenting kind of portrait of a load of youths in the outskirts of Paris, just going on a kind of rampage, really, a kind of violent rampage for no apparent reason. So, really. In some senses, a video like that shouldn't really fit into the kind of whole concept of the show, which is about trying to talk about positive aspects of DIY culture and how a downturn in the economy can lead to positive creativity. But I thought it was important to have this video in the show, this piece in the show, to show another aspect of what the economy's effect on the human psyche, I suppose. A piece by an artist called Pim Cloraldi, who's a Dutch art. Well, he's not even an artist really. He's more of a kind of architect and nomad, but he kind of makes these kind of nomadic structures, all based around orbitecture, and so round architecture, and he uses those round structures as a kind of a way of life, really. And so that. The term orbitecture from Pim is actually where the show takes its title from, and so it's all about this idea of round structures leading to alternative ways of living and different possibilities for humanity in the long run, I suppose. And it links to people like Buckminster Fuller and other kind of experimental architects and all that kind of thing. And just behind Pim's piece here, there's a kind of alternative press release for the exhibition, which was made by the artist group Head Gallery, and again, it's a kind of crazy text which you can actually look at online. Just here is a piece by an artist called David Osbalderson, which is called Rule Notice, and it's just a kind of ridiculous set of rules about do's and don'ts and things you can't do. So it's kind of relating to issues of the economy and authority, and who makes the rules and what are those rules, and are those rules actually who are those rules going to benefit, and are actually those rules totally ridiculous if we actually start to question them. This is another video piece by an artist called Alistair McKinnon, and it's basically I can't remember the title actually. It's called Flog It. So this is a kind of quite a funny piece, which is literally recorded off the TV screen by the artist, and he's re-edited the British TV show Flog It, which is kind of a very mainstream TV show, and it kind of depicts a very mainstream British view of looking at art and antiques and culture, essentially. And basically the final point is always, what's it worth? Can we get 200 quid for this chandelier or whatever? So it actually puts a very different, quite cynical, perhaps, perspective on art and culture and money. I know we've got a series of paintings on board by an artist called Stephen Molyneux, who's a painter from London, and he basically paints these diaristic images of his life, and he's very much into permaculture gardening and alternative ways of living and alternative forms of economy and funding systems, and he kind of tries to live those out throughout his life, running his gallery, making his art, but also mixed within those paintings and portraits you have these kind of bizarre scenes of him vomiting in a rabbit suit, or partaking in strange bedroom activities or whatever. So it's a real kind of candid diary of his life. It's called Alternative Transitional Living Experiment, I think it was, and it's by an artist called Francis Furborn. And basically the piece is part sculpture, part performance, part functioning living quarters, which can be transported around the world and actually function as a kind of IKEA style kind of beach hut. And so part of the piece is actually the making and assembling of the piece, which is done as a performance by the artist and was done at the opening. And so there are lots of ideas around this piece, about the idea of nomadism and moving structures, and the idea of being able to set up camp wherever you are, and something about, let's say, macho culture and primitivism, and lots of this type of stuff. But also, it does have some kind of formal sculptural element as well. It could, it kind of has a little bit of a. You can just almost look at the piece aesthetically as well, although it is, a fully functioning temporary living site, which would work perfectly on a beach. So I think that's one of the humorous things about this work, is that it would be better off to see this piece on a beach outside, but the fact that we've got it inside gives it an air of ridiculousness, which I quite enjoy. The second to last piece in the show is a series of drawings by the artist Laura Oldfield Ford, and we've got really two pieces here by her, well, it's 12 drawings, I think it is, or 18 drawings, and a series of posters, and we decided to put the drawings on top of the posters. And so the drawings are made from various kind of walks that Laura does around various parts of London and the country, where she just goes for these walks and takes photographs of derelict and empty parts of city centres, and kind of documents the decline of places in kind of recession-hit Britain, I suppose, and makes these really beautiful drawings of them. And then the posters that those are placed on top of were from a series of posters which Laura made for a project that she did at the Arnold Feeney Gallery in Bristol, where these posters are actually pasted around the streets of Bristol. And again, the posters depict kind of very much recession-hit Britain, with all the kind of gold for sale shops, and all the shops have sale signs in them, and it's just cheap culture. Second piece by David Osbalderson, and it's just called Rule Notice, and it's basically a section of rules that should be applied to when visiting the gallery, or whichever space the piece is shown in. And it's just a kind of ridiculous political take on names of food and kind of philosophical ideas. So it's also a bit of a parody on the culture of art and talking about art, I think.